Okay, this one's going to be interesting. Selling shampoo is boring. Many people have done that. Serving Italian food sounds like a great business idea, but it's not that niche anymore. There are many ways of earning money, but there's perhaps one that takes advantage of human frailties more than others. It's a growing commercial industry called personal development. The trouble is, it's becoming an increasingly harmful industry. You see, a business grows when it has a loyal client base. A business is highly dependent on the repeat customers. If you sell noodles, it's best that you have the best noodle recipes that will get your customers hooked and keep them coming. But what about personal development? The so-called purpose of personal development is to help people overcome their inner challenges like procrastination, productivity, work faster, be more organized, have a better routine, so that you could work like machines without any emotions left. If we suppose they operate like a normal business, they probably don't mind customers who keep coming back for more. Whether it's because they're unable to grasp the teachings the first time around, or it just doesn't work like that in real life. Either way, they will be back, thirsting for more knowledge. I'm not sure if this probably means they suck at providing meaningful value for the customers, or they're actually good at it because they get these people coming back for more, which then makes them more money. I'm not saying that these personal development people are only doing it for the sake of money, that they don't have a genuine intention to make your life better. Some of these people actually have good information to give. All I'm saying is, just like an ordinary business, they don't mind repeat customers. It's like if you're truly hell-bent on making these people become a better person, you're actually more satisfied when they no longer need you, unfollow you, and unsubscribe to your channel, so to speak. And yet, our ordinary human minds are always rigged in favor of the numbers. The more followers you have, the more you feel like everybody needs you. The more subscribers you have, the more your work feels meaningful. And don't forget the biggest elephant in the room. The more followers and subscribers, the more money coming in for you. We always look at numbers for some kind of validation, and we always want to maintain them. And yet, if you truly have a 100% pure desire to help people, your goal is very likely not to increase your subscribers count, but it's actually to reduce them to zero someday, because you're so effective at explaining and teaching that they no longer need you. The other name for it is self-help, which is supposed to indicate that no outside help is perhaps required. But obviously, these personal development gurus are helping you to help yourself. They help us to help ourselves. That sounds kind of fishy. It's like a double mindfuck. Ultimately, you can't really help yourself. Even when you're trying to help yourself, you still need somebody else to help you. There are still a bunch of guys behind you telling you what you should do, how you should behave, how you should function in the world. The title self-help is only made to trick you into thinking that you're actually helping yourself, that you have been independent all along, that the success of your personal development journey is down to only one person, which is you. It kind of makes you forget that there are some people out there making money off your personal difficulties. Which then leads us to the next point. Why do we sometimes feel like we are not getting the most out of these personal development materials? If you have been reading several books a month, why do you still feel like the same person? If you have been watching videos every day, why are you still unable to change? That's because in everyday life situations, things are practical, while books and videos are mostly theories. It's like we have two minds in this body and mind complex. The mental memory, which is all the information and knowledge you absorb that has been floating around the invisible space as your thoughts, and the body memory, which is stored in the body itself. I have to tell you this reality. What you learn from these personal development books goes only to the mental memory of your mind. It goes there to join a collection of other thoughts you've collected previously from somewhere else. But learning is not only accumulating knowledge, but it's also putting it to daily practice, which is the second phase of learning, putting it down to the body memory. If you don't practice the knowledge you get from books, it will remain as knowledge. Or even more crudely speaking, it will remain just as another thought. That's right, mental knowledge is just another name for thought. What you read from books is merely someone else's thought, namely the author's. It's perhaps as much knowledge as the information you get from random gossips. Instead of physically hanging out with your girlfriends, you're actually hanging out with the author in your own mind when you read his book. Anyway, the mental knowledge serves only the mental memory, which is only the first stage of learning. In order to complete the whole learning cycle, you have to go to the second step, which is applying it. If you wish to learn how to bake, but only read about it, you would quickly forget it as soon as you reach the oven. If you are learning how to play tennis, but only read about it without actually touching a tennis racket, you're not learning anything. That's because you haven't put it down to your body memory. In order to learn something, you not only need to know how to do it, but you also need to practice and repeat it over and over again until your body has effectively memorized it. Over time, your body becomes so attuned to the behavioral change that you're able to instinctively move without needing to remember what you need to do every step of the way. Your body just remembers. When you drive, you don't drive thinking, okay, now I have to step on the gas. Oh, wait, that's too much gas. Where's the brake? Accidents happen like that. The problem with reading is, it kind of makes you feel good about learning stuff. It tricks you into thinking that you have actually understood something simply from reading about it. But learning is not complete yet until you have made a physical, actual, behavioral change. Then you move on to learning the next thing and the next and the next without realizing that you have wasted time learning absolutely nothing. I used to be a voracious reader, consuming books after books and then getting more book recommendations so that I would have something to read for the next few weeks or so. Every time I finish a book, I used to feel so good, like I've leveled up intellectually. But after a while, it kinda got old. Like I started to realize that reading is basically a mental masturbation and I'm not getting anything done. Then everything sort of became meaningless. Ever since, I just convinced myself to read less and do more until I eventually get the balance right. The balance of knowledge and understanding. George Gurdjieff, the Armenian mystic, used to say there's a big difference between knowledge and being. Knowledge is something that you know, while being is something that you embody. Knowledge takes place in your mind, while being takes place in the marrow of your bones. He also said that the extent of knowledge and being in a person needs to be finely balanced. One shouldn't get too far ahead of the other. If knowledge outweighs being, a person simply knows, but has no power to do. He may know a lot of things about the physical world, and yet it's useless knowledge. If being outweighs knowledge, he has the power to do, but doesn't know what to do with it. He simply puts in tons of effort that's ultimately aimless. The problem with personal development these days is the lack of balance between the two. Some of the personal development channels on YouTube rightly keep putting out more and more content in order to maintain their relevance to their faithful following. And the audience who supposedly wants to improve themselves gets caught in the same cycle of consuming more and more content without actually doing anything to get better themselves. They may be able to learn lots of things from these videos, but they still don't have the power to do. They might have watched thousands of dating videos on the internet, and yet, if they don't go out there into the deep waters of the whole dating scene, the information is pretty much useless. In which case, knowledge has outweighed being. Often the reason for putting out more videos or more books is not because they think you need more of this knowledge. You can actually read one good solid book and be well set for the rest of your life, but because it's good for business. The more videos they make, the better it is for the growth of their channel. The more books they write, the more money is coming in for them. It's the whole numbers game again. These personal development teachers are not any less prone to human tendencies for the numbers than any businessman in the world. So they go on helping more and more people in the name of self-help when in fact, they're actually helping them to be more enslaved. Look, we all need money to survive, including these self-help gurus. I'm not here making this video to undermine their work at all. But what I'm getting at here is the disguise some of these self-help gurus wear to seem above the ordinary human means of making money. They are as much a business as any McDonald's outlet on the streets. With that being said, this is also partly down to the information consumers. Without the demand for it, there would be no supply anyhow. If they're not addicted to new knowledge that's oftentimes the same meaning packaged in different words, and if they realize that they probably have acquired enough to get by, the whole cycle would simply collapse. There would be less need for books, YouTube videos, seminars, training programs, and online courses and whatnot, because people are already busy doing stuff out there in the world.